What if the difference between sharper memory and faster decline is as simple as hitting a narrow step range each day and avoiding the kind of workouts that quietly wreck your metabolism?
Welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. Stay informed with quick, easy-to-listen summaries of our latest articles, perfect for when you're on the go. No reading required. Subscribe for free at mercola.com for the latest health insights.
Hello, and welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. I'm Ethan Foster. Today we're examining evidence that points to a practical movement sweet spot that protects cognition and stabilizes metabolic function without extreme training or complicated routines.
I'm Alara Sky. We'll connect two lines of research. One linking moderate daily steps with slower buildup of tau, the brain protein tied to Alzheimer's-related decline, and another showing how high-intensity training can impair mitochondrial energy production and destabilize blood sugar.
Let's start with everyday movement. Researchers following cognitively healthy older adults tracked daily step counts and brain changes over time. The key finding was precise, consistently reaching roughly 5,001 to 7,500 steps per day, slowed tau accumulation and preserved thinking skills and day-to-day function for years longer than staying under 3,000 steps.
That range mattered most for people already showing elevated amyloid, an early Alzheimer's marker. When they reached the moderate step zone, memory and function declined much more slowly compared to those who stayed sedentary. In other words, those at higher risk saw the biggest payoff from steady, moderate movement.
Another useful detail is how quickly benefits appeared when people left the inactive category. Individuals moving from under 3,000 steps to 3,500 to 5,000 per day already showed meaningful reductions in cognitive decline and functional loss. Once participants entered the moderate range, the curve flattened. More steps didn't add much extra protection.
It's important to be precise about what movement changed and what it didn't. Activity didn't lower amyloid at baseline or over time. The protective effects seem to track with improved brain blood flow, more efficient mitochondrial function, and lower inflammation, factors that help you maintain attention, memory, and stability as years pass.
Now, the counterpoint. A separate trial tested what happens when training volume and intensity climb too high. Healthy adults completed a 4-week program that ramped up each week. At the peak load, intrinsic mitochondrial respiration dropped by about 40%, and glucose tolerance deteriorated, despite these participants starting out fit.
That is a striking shift. The most intense week pushed healthy adults toward a metabolic pattern that resembles early insulin resistance. Blood sugar became harder to manage, and energy systems faltered. When researchers pulled back the training for a week, function partially recovered, but not completely at that point.
The pattern extended beyond the lab. Elite endurance athletes wearing continuous glucose monitors spent more time in both high and low glucose zones than controls, even when average glucose looked normal. The swings revealed instability, evidence that chronic high-volume training can strain blood sugar regulation in daily life.
Mechanistically, the excessive load reduced ATP production and cut hydrogen peroxide signaling by more than half, signals your mitochondria use to adapt to training. Mitochondrial density went up, but performance went down, indicating a stress response that builds more engines yet leaves them underpowered.
So the picture is clear. Too little movement accelerates decline, and too much intensity drives metabolic dysfunction. The practical question is how you set a personal target that avoids both ends. You want enough daily steps to exit the sedentary zone, and enough restraint to prevent overload.
Here's a 5-step plan drawn directly from the evidence. First, set a daily step target between 5,000 and 7,500. If you're averaging 2,000 steps, aim for 3,500 this week and add 500 each week until you're inside that zone. Use a pedometer or tracker and work up to about an hour of walking daily.
Second, avoid abrupt spikes in high-intensity training. The study shows that stacking hard sessions week after week can suppress mitochondrial output and disrupt glucose control. If you gravitate toward extreme efforts, scale intensity and volume down before problems appear.
Third, use energy cues to dial in your dose. Stable morning energy, steady focus, and predictable appetite signal that you're in the sweet spot. Afternoon crashes, irritability, or feeling worse after workouts indicate overshooting. A one-line daily note, great, medium, or rough, helps you see patterns and adjust.
Fourth, schedule recovery days before your body demands them. 1 or 2 lower intensity days each week, walking, slow cycling, stretching, or mobility, support mitochondrial repair and more stable blood sugar. Planning recovery deliberately keeps you out of the overtraining trap.
Fifth, make consistency friction-free. Put walking shoes by the door. Pair a short walk with a routine task like a phone call or after lunch. Simple rituals reduce decision load and make it easier to hit your step range without willpower battles.
Let's address a common question. Is walking more effective than intense workouts for long-term brain protection? For cognition, yes. Consistent moderate walking correlated with slower decline, even in those with elevated Alzheimer's markers. High intensity has fitness benefits, but when overdone, it destabilizes the very energy systems you rely on to think clearly and feel steady.
Another practical concern is how to recognize overtraining early. Watch for unstable energy, poor sleep, afternoon slumps, or feeling sick after sessions instead of refreshed. Those cues signal metabolic stress. Pulling back intensity and adding recovery helps restore mitochondrial function.
If you're active and worry that stepping down will set you back, remember the goal: protect cognition and stabilize metabolism over the long term. The evidence indicates there's a ceiling to productive intensity and a clear floor you need to step over daily. Staying between those lines is the path to durable performance.
Here's today's challenge. Track your steps for the next 7 days, identify your average, and move it toward the 5,001 to 7,500 range without adding high-intensity spikes. Add 1 planned recovery day this week and note your energy each morning with a single word. Use that feedback to fine-tune next week's plan.
Thank you for watching Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe now and click the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.